3 in the morning. You're dead asleep. And then, chaos. Something tears through the hallway. There's a sound like a small horse running up the stairs. A crash, silence, then more running. You open your eyes to find your cat sitting on your chest, staring directly into your soul. If you've ever watched your cat transform, without warning, into what can only be described as a tiny, furry hurricane, you've witnessed one of the most misunderstood behaviors in the entire animal kingdom. And the real reason behind it, it's going to make you look at your cat completely differently. Most people chalk this up to one thing: my cat is just crazy. And honestly, that's what the internet wants you to believe. Search 3 AM Zoomies, and you'll find 1,000 memes, a dozen Reddit threads, and one very confident answer. Cats have excess energy, and they need to burn it off. That's not entirely wrong, but it's like saying a rocket launches because it has a lot of fuel. Technically accurate, almost completely useless, because what no one's asking is the real question. Why not noon? Why not at 6 p.m. when you could actually play with them? Why, always, in the middle of the night, in the dark, like a creature that has temporarily lost its mind? The answer isn't about energy levels at all. It's about time. Let's go back, way back, before your cat was an indoor pet with a dedicated Instagram account. Its ancestors were small, solitary hunters, and they faced a problem that every predator faces. When do you hunt? Hunt during the day? And the big predators see you. Lions, eagles, large raptors, all active in full daylight. You become prey instead of predator. Hunt in total darkness, and your prey is hiding, burrowed, asleep. You're spending enormous energy for almost no return. So evolution found a third option: dawn and dusk. That narrow window when light is low enough to give a hunter the advantage, but not so dark that prey has gone completely underground. Mice are active. Small birds are distracted. The temperature drops just enough to make movement comfortable. This is when the Feline family, the family of animals your cat belongs to, evolved to hunt. Scientists call this being crepuscular, from the Latin crepusculum, meaning twilight. And it is one of the most important words for understanding the creature living in your home. Now here's where it gets interesting. Buried deep in the hypothalamus, in both your brain and your cat's brain, is a tiny cluster of neurons called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. This is the master clock of the body. It reads light signals from the environment and coordinates virtually every biological rhythm. Hormone release, body temperature, digestion, alertness. In humans, this clock is tuned to the sun. We wake with light. We wind down with darkness. In domestic cats, it's tuned to something different. Dr. Carlo Siracusa, a veterinary behaviorist at the University of Pennsylvania, describes domestic cats as having a flexible crepuscular pattern, meaning their biological peak activity windows naturally cluster around low light periods. Dawn, dusk, and critically, the early hours after midnight, when ambient light reaches its lowest point and their ancient hunting instincts fire at maximum strength. This isn't your cat choosing to be annoying. This is a clock that was set millions of years before your cat was born, ticking away right now in its brain. But there's one more piece to this. In 2020, a study published in Animal Cognition examined what researchers formally call FRAPs, Frenetic Random Activity Periods. That's the scientific name for what you call the Zoomies. What they found was striking. FRAPs are not random. They follow a pattern that behavioral scientists call the predatory sequence. Next, stalk, rush, pounce, catch, kill, eat, groom, sleep. In the wild, a cat's entire hunting arc follows this deeply ingrained neurological script, and each phase releases a specific cascade of neurotransmitters. The rush phase, that explosive, full-body sprint, triggers a surge of dopamine and adrenaline. It is, in neurological terms, the most rewarding moment of the entire sequence. Your cat, living inside your apartment, never completes this sequence. It doesn't stalk real prey. It doesn't kill. It never experiences the full neurochemical payoff that its nervous system is wired to expect. So the system builds pressure. And pressure, especially pressure amplified by a circadian clock screaming, "It's hunting time," eventually has to go somewhere. What you hear at 3 a.m. is not chaos. What you hear is a nervous system doing exactly what millions of years of evolution designed it to do, exploding through the predatory sequence alone, in the dark, using your hallway as a savanna. The frantic sprinting, the sudden stops, the wide, dilated eyes that seem to look through rather than at you. That's not madness. That's a hunt. The only kind your cat can have. So now that you understand what's actually happening, what do you do with it? Here's the insight that changes everything. So, the solution isn't to stop the Zoomies. It's to complete the sequence. About 30 to 45 minutes before you want to go to sleep. Play with your cat. Not passively, actively. Use a wand toy, a laser, anything that mimics the movement of prey. Let them stalk. Let them rush. Let them pounce. Then, and this is the part most people miss, feed them a small meal immediately after. This is what feline behaviorist Dr. Catherine Delgado calls hunt, catch, kill, eat enrichment. By engineering the natural predatory sequence, even in a compressed, indoor version, you satisfy the neurological loop your cat's brain is trying to complete on its own at 3 a.m. After a simulated hunt, after a meal, after grooming, the cat's nervous system does exactly what it was designed to do. It rests. Multiple studies in veterinary behavioral science have confirmed this. Cats who receive structured evening play sessions show significantly fewer nocturnal disruption behaviors. This isn't a trick, it's biology. And here's something else worth knowing. If your cat specifically wakes you up, running across your face, meowing at the door, pushing things off shelves, that's a related but separate signal. Your cat has learned that you are a source of activation. You respond. You react. In its brain, you have become part of the hunt sequence. Vornam, not because it hates you, because you move. The fix isn't punishment. It's earlier engagement. Tire them out before you become the prey. There's a version of this story that a lot of cat owners never hear. The version where your cat isn't difficult, isn't nocturnal in some mysterious, aloof way, isn't broken. Your cat is carrying inside it a biological architecture shaped across millions of years, in places nothing like your apartment, in a world nothing like the one it actually lives in. And every night, when the light fades and the ancient clock in its brain says go, it tries. It runs through your hall. It leaps off your couch. It sprints into the dark. Not because something is wrong, but because something is very, very right, and it has nowhere else to put it. Your cat isn't going insane at 3 a.m. Your cat is a hunter who never got to hunt. And the Zoomies, that's the closest thing it has to the wild. Does your cat have a specific time, almost like clockwork, when the Zoomies hit? Drop it in the comments. Some of you are going to say 2 a.m. Some will say 4. Some will find their cat does it at the exact same time every single day. And that's not a coincidence. That's the suprachiasmatic nucleus doing its job with stunning precision. I'll be reading every single one. And next week, we're going somewhere even stranger. You've seen your cat stare at a blank wall, completely still, completely focused, on absolutely nothing. Or is it nothing? What if your cat is perceiving something in that room that your brain is literally incapable of processing? The science behind feline sensory perception is going to make you genuinely uncomfortable about what shares your home with you. I'm the curious cat mind, and we're just getting started. That's